it was so then we went with Pete. But when he talked about GMs, he didn't mention nobody else. He was like, "Oh yes, it's John Switek." It's like what? They didn't say another single name, so it makes me think that was like
It was
the
like an
other
early. They circled
yeah
him.
other
They
other interviews was like formalities. Like okay, we're gonna knock
right,
these out, but
right,
this is who we really want to.
right, right.
Because it was did we interview at we did we interview at we interview Agnew for sure, right? Or did we were we going
Nah,
to?
nah.
We
I
didn't
don't
interview
think.
Agnew at all, right?
Nah, the only guy that had a Detroit Lion connection was Lance Newmark or was it what's his
Okay.
name Newman
Oh
or
yeah, Lance
Newmark?
Newmark. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
that's yeah, no.
that's the only
Hard
thing. But
pass.
guys, don't forget to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Here we go.
Great Pharaoh. The gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the 5 rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
We back. We are back for another edition of the Around the Shield, man. Hey, man, PharoahNFL, as you see it on the screen, we got the Severe Raider. Man, we got a great show lined up today, man. A lot to talk about. Obviously, man, the Raiders made their big hire of head coach and GM. They announced it this week. We're going to continue that conversation. And right now, we're going to try to see if we can talk about the assistant coaches, man, that possibly can get hired. And obviously the big news is Patrick Graham coming back. We'll get into that. So make sure make sure before you even get it, before you do anything, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Man, we got a lot to talk about. Severe, man, what's going on, man?
Man, same old, man. You know, just got some good news yesterday. I think it was about yesterday. Yeah, I got some good news on a coordinator front. So, you know, we'll see what we do on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, looks like we're getting some of that much needed continuity. So, I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, man. Let's not waste any time, man. Like I said, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Sometimes y'all forget, man. I got to give y'all a reminder. Sometimes I forget to remind y'all, but, you know, hey, man, make sure where you guys are going to be seeing this on both platforms. So definitely clock in, as we like to say it on this channel. But, yeah, man, let's not waste any time, man. Let's get into it, man. So Patrick Graham is officially back at defensive coordinator. There's a chance that we thought we were going to lose him, especially because, you know, hey, this is third head coach, and Patrick Graham is still in the building, man. That's a lot of respect to Patrick Graham. And, hey, it's a big-time move, man. It's going to be let's talk about it. I mean, Severe, what's the impact of Patrick Graham coming back as a DC?
So, first of all, just continuity with what we've been doing, right? Like the players that are here, that are signed, that were drafted, they don't have to learn a completely new system. They get to spend at least one more year under the same system they were already under, last year. And also you look at some of the free agents, right? Graham were to leave. You already know he's going to be on the phone making calls to some of these free agents, especially some of the more productive ones, saying, hey, you know what? Hey, I'm over here now. Like, you know, I like what you did over there. Yeah. There could be an opportunity for you over here, or potentially a bigger opportunity for you over here than where you were previously at. And then something else, right? There's something else I mentioned when I talked about Pete Carroll and his coaching tree. When Pete Carroll got to the Seahawks, there were already two guys in place, right? And the only two guys that have been successful as head coaches that were under, that coach for Pete Carroll, or rather were coordinators with Pete Carroll, were Gus Bradley, who was already defensive coordinator when Pete Carroll arrived, and Dan Quinn, who was the defensive line coach already when Pete Carroll arrived. Who were the two coaches that the Raiders retained? Patrick Graham, who was our defensive coordinator, and Robbie Leonard, who was our defensive line coach. So if you're looking at possible succession plans, only two guys that in Pete Carroll's past that have worked out as head coaches were Gus Bradley and Dan Quinn, who happen to be in the exact same positions that Patrick Graham and Rob Leonard are in right now.
Yeah, man. It's, like I said, it says a lot about Patrick Graham that he's coming back to his third head coach, pretty much third different regime, and Patrick Graham is back. So, you know, Pete Carroll thought highly of him to bring him back. I think this is a big impact on free agency. You know, there a lot of players that on that defense that are free agents. Now I can see them coming back. I can see the Kuntzes coming back. I can see the Moore coming back. The Spillanes, the Adam Butlers. Like, there's so many different guys. You know what I mean? Even a Chaseon, who I would think like, hey, I was thinking that I don't even think the Raiders are going to re-sign him. Not because I thought he was a bad player for the Raiders last year. It's just a whole different coaching staff now, whole different regime. Now a Patrick Graham could be like, hey, we need to bring this guy up. They prioritize him, not in giving him a big-time contract, but a depth piece on his defensive line. So I think, man, I think it changes a lot for free agency and just re-signing guys overall. I think getting him back, I think that's a big impact. And I think the defense could be really good next season. I know last year we expected it to be real good. At times, there were times where we were like, hey, man, they played a good half, but they didn't play a complete game early on in the season. But injuries took a toll on this team. But I felt like even with Max Crosby gone, I felt like there were times where they were getting better. Like there was obviously a stretch. I think they finished like 25th in points allowed in the season. I mean, and that's down from the year before. But I think there was a certain point where there was a stretch where like they were playing really good defense, even with Max Crosby gone. But that says a lot about Patrick Graham and him being able to, coach up that defense. And I'm glad he's back. And hey, I think that just means that the defense is going to be that much better next season, especially if they're healthier, and they're going to continue to play fast. Because what is this? Their fourth year in the defense, fifth year in the defense. Yeah. So I think it has to be a priority to bring these guys back. Has to be. You know what I mean? Got to be a priority to bring back Morick. It got to be a priority to bring back Spillane because, man, it just makes too much sense. Rob Leonard, I don't think it's official yet, but I think all signs point to him coming back. I think they're pushing for him to come back at D-line. But you know what I was thinking about, and I don't know if we talked about this. What do you think of the possibility of Patrick Graham maybe being the head coach for the Raiders? I mean, obviously we're not expecting Pete Carroll to be here for the next 10 years. Maybe a Patrick Graham could see this as a way to get to that head coaching spot. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be possible. Maybe Brady has something else in mind because obviously we know Brady's running the show right now for the Raiders. But can you envision a scenario where Patrick Graham could become head coach for this team?
Yeah, I could definitely envision a scenario like that. And that could be one of the factors that drew him here as opposed to going to maybe take the DC job with the Jaguars or maybe going to take a college job somewhere else, right? Is the fact that we have Pete Carroll. He's already here. He's a little bit of an older guy. He's not going to be here forever. And, if you take the Jaguars job, your hope there is that you do well enough there with some new players, trying to teach new players a new system. And then you parlay that into a head coaching job, maybe the next year or in the near future. Whereas if you come back here, not only are you not having to teach new players, a new system, so your defense is more likely to play better. You got Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby coming back fully healthy. Plus, Ja'Cory Bennett coming back healthy. Plus, if we bring back some of these other free agents. So you have a better chance of having a top defense, which puts your name on the radar even more. But your other pathway is, hey, I stick it out here as a coordinator under Pete Carroll. And once he walks away, I might have the right of first refusal, or I might be the guy that the organization looks to next, a la Todd Bowles and Bruce Arians type situation where, hey, they elevated Bruce Arians up, or Dennis Allen, Sean Payton, where, Sean Payton leaves, they elevate Dennis Allen up. So it could be a situation where he's looking at it like that, like, I'll just pay my dues here a few more years. At the same time, I'm learning from, one of the better head coaches of the past 20 years. And, I get that shot very soon.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I just threw it out there because I feel like, man, Patrick Graham deserves a shot. And I think there is a possibility if the Raiders have a great defense next year, I think he could be as good as gone. I mean, I think, that's why I feel like he should get an opportunity at head coach. That Jaguar situation was pretty bad. I'm not going to lie how they handled that whole situation. But that being said, there was another assistant coach hire, I think a linebacker coach. I think John Glenn was hired as a linebacker coach. I think he was a special teams coordinator for the Commanders, but he was a linebacker coach for Pete Carroll back in the Seattle days for at least 6 seasons. What do you think of the hire?
Yeah, I mean, I know he was linebackers coach in Seattle. They did have some very good linebackers there. Think about, Bobby Wagner. What's my other guy's name? KJ Wright. So they had some pretty good linebackers there. So he had a hand in helping those guys develop. But, they also had some talent there. I think they had more talent at the linebacker position there than we do here. Hopefully he's able to, develop some of our young guys. We have Amari Burney and Amari Gaynor here on the roster that, that they can use some development. We did, spend / waste the first 5th round pick last year on Tommy Eichenberg. So hopefully you can get anything out of Tommy Eichenberg going forward. And we were told early in the draft process this year, or it was reported, it was reported by a reporter that the Raiders were looking at linebackers. So, I don't know how reliable that report is, but we were told the Raiders were looking at linebackers in the draft. So, he'll have a hand in developing whoever it is we select in the draft at linebacker as well, especially if we let guys like Diablo go, potentially let Spillane go. I don't think that that will be beneficial to the Raiders, or that's in their plans to let him go, but it could happen. So he could play an important role in terms of helping this defense next year.
It's going to be interesting. Like, obviously, Patrick Graham is back at defensive coordinator. That's a big hire. Him coming back, and I can't wait to see how the defense looks in their fourth, fifth year in that system, healthy. And I'm sure another draft, another offseason where they're going to add some pieces, hopefully to the team, or to that defense at least. Now we move it to the other side of the football. They haven't hired an offensive coordinator yet, and that's going to be the biggest hire, in my opinion.
Yes.
Is who are we going to get at offensive coordinator? Who's going to run that offense? Are we going to have a young QB back there? Are we going to draft a young QB? If we draft, all signs point to us drafting a QB at some point, then who's going to be responsible to develop that QB? And a lot of people are saying Bevel. Darrell Bevel, who there's a lot of, he interviewed the other day. We talked about it on 50/50 show. Make sure to tune in every Tuesday. But Bevel is a guy that, is highly connected to the staff, highly connected to Pete Carroll. But it just doesn't make sense to hire a guy that you fired. I just don't get that. Like, why would you want to bring back something? And I know he had a lot of success with Russell Wilson. Could be a free agent target at QB. Especially, if for whatever reason, the Steelers end up going with a younger option in like a Justin Fields, and maybe draft a guy in the draft, draft a QB in the draft with Justin Fields. That could be a possibility for them. But we'll see. And if that's the case, then, I can see Wilson being interested in coming back under Pete Carroll with the Raiders. Do you think hiring Bevel will be a move to get Wilson to come to Las Vegas?
No, no. I just don't have a lot of faith in Darrell Bevell as offensive coordinator. Last time he was offensive coordinator was, with 3 years ago with the Jaguars under Urban Meyer, and that was a disastrous situation where Urban Meyer ended up, but basically, out of a job before the end of that year. I think Darrell Bevell took over as interim head coach, and then they still went 1-3 down the stretch. So I just don't have a lot of faith in that guy as offensive coordinator. I guess the hope would be that in his time with the Dolphins, working with Mike McDaniel, that he's learned a thing or two. He's kind of, diversified his offense, broadened his horizons, what have you. But I'd rather, as you said, why repeat those same mistakes twice? Like, you fired him the first time for a reason. Like, what? Like, why go back? Why go back?
Like, hey, Carroll did say that he wanted to, as far as coaching staff and how he wanted to build it. He said he wanted to hire guys that he never worked before. He wanted to bring back guys that were here previously, and obviously he wanted to also bring in guys that already are familiar with his system and how he does things. So I guess Patrick Graham kind of checks the box to a couple of boxes. A guy that he's never worked with, and then obviously he was here previously. Hopefully that OC job is a guy that he never worked with. Like, he takes, he thinks outside the box, and shout out to Sean. He was saying that, Pete Carroll and Spytech are actually working together to fill out the staff. Previously, the last regime with Telesco and AP. AP was responsible for filling out the staff, and Telesco was hands off when it came to that. So now I guess you can say, if you think about it, then that's probably going to be casting a wider net, because then you got Spytek in the mix, probably throwing in some names that maybe Pete Carroll should consider for that offensive coordinator spot. Who are guys that you are thinking about that the Raiders should consider at offensive coordinator outside of Bevel? I mean, I know last show we talked about like the Houston, the recently fired Houston coordinator, Bobby Slowick, which, you know what? Hey, man, I wouldn't be necessarily mad just because the results were good that first year, especially with a young QB.
Yeah.
It didn't work out the second year for a lot of different reasons, but
but they still had. I mean, Joe Mixon had one of the better years of his career this past year. Like the run game was good, you know. So
and they dealt with some injuries too at wide receiver.
Yeah,
they dealt with some injuries too.
Like three, their top three receivers at one point were hurt.
I think they probably fired. I think it had something to do with the relationship with the quarterback. It had to be.
Possibly.
A little drama between the quarterback. Obviously, they're going to go with the young QB that they're going to be signing. Like that's like the future of the team. So they're obviously going to side with the young QB if there's problems there. But yeah, it just seemed kind of like, man, like I don't know, man. It just, with all the injuries to the receiver position, and I know the offense wasn't there. I mean, the offensive line wasn't really protecting, Stroud like they did previously. I don't know. It just felt like it was an interesting move for them to get away from him. So I'll probably give him but we'll see. Slowick, I guess we can throw Slowick's name in the hat as far as OC. Who else would you consider? I mean,
we know. I think we've talked about Chip Kelly in the past. That's a guy I wouldn't mind at all either. I mean, I think that's a guy just in terms of just X's and O's, play calling, understanding tempo, like, play design, being able to run the ball and generate, yards in the run game. He's a guy that's done it in the past, and he's also turned, guys that were, kind of so talents at quarterbacks into very good, good quarterbacks at whatever level they were at. Remember how well Nick Foles started his career? Was it 7 touchdowns against us that game? And then, Marcus Mariota was a 3-star recruit, turning him into a Heisman Trophy candidate. Jeremiah Masoli was a transfer guy who, people had said had character concerns, turned him into a very good quarterback at the collegiate level. DTR was a guy that, was inexperienced at the quarterback position, somewhat struggling, got him to the NFL as a mid-round pick. So, like, wherever he's gone, the quarterback at that level has played pretty well. So I think, and he's a guy that all he wants, and we talk about, like just consistency at the position. He's not a guy that no team is going to come knocking down our door to hire Chip Kelly as their head coach, right? Like Chip Kelly is going to be entrenched as our offensive coordinator for a long time. So, that's a guy that I wouldn't mind. And we see, Ryan Day, he was basically like Ohio State fans were ready to run him out of town if he didn't put together a successful season this year. Chip Kelly comes over to be his offensive coordinator, and what do? Win a national championship. So he's definitely a guy we should consider. I know we considered him last year, and I forgot there was some reason. I forgot what the reason why it was we didn't bring him on, but he's a guy I definitely think should be at the top of the list or near the top of the list. Byron Leftwich. Me and you talked pre-show about it. I think that's a guy we should consider. Also has those Tampa Bay ties with Spytek. He was a quarterback. I think he was the offensive coordinator when Tom Brady was there when they won the Super Bowl. So he has the jewelry. And then I got to shout out somebody in my comment section, Jonathan Meeks. He brought up a very interesting name, a guy I didn't consider, but a guy that's a very intriguing candidate, Thad Lewis, who is the current quarterbacks coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He arrived there in 2020 as a intern, or offensive intern. Took him 2 years. He elevated to assistant wide receivers coach, after 2 years from there, he was the quarterbacks coach. He, his time as quarterbacks coach aligns with the time that that Baker Mayfield got there, when Baker Mayfield has played some of the best football in his career. And the player Baker Mayfield has gotten 2 guys head coaching jobs, and Dave Canales with the Carolina Panthers, and most recently, Mr. Honesty himself, Liam Cohen, with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Mr. Honesty, man. That's
That's
hilarious.
the honesty is the best policy.
You know what, Chip Kelly? I can see that. I can see that happening. Not to say that it is going to happen, but I can see that happen just because what did Pete Carroll say he wanted to do? What does he want to do? He wants to run the football. He wants to play good defense and run the football. Right now, the Raiders don't have a quarterback. And what Chip Kelly can probably bring to that offense is probably develop that run game. And I think that could possibly be a fit. I'm not sure. Usually when we try to think about some of these coach hires, we're like, oh, where's the connection?
Yeah.
But Pete Carroll did say that he's willing to hire someone that he's never worked with before. So we'll see, man. Does he go with a familiar face, or does he go with someone that he's never worked with before? That's the question. Hopefully it's the latter, man. He's never worked with before. But yeah, that being said, hey man, make sure to clock in. If you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You're going to be seeing this on both of our platforms. Let us know in the chat, man, guys that you're probably interested in the Raiders probably looking to hire. I think Ricky Manning Jr. is going to be coming back. He worked with Pete Carroll as a back in his Seattle days. He was last season's cornerbacks coach. So I think he's going to be back. Trying to think if there's anybody else that might be back. It's going to be interesting who that offensive line coach is going to be too. That's another big hire too. Yeah. Recently, Tom Cable was on Marshawn Lynch's podcast, and I think they shoot it in Vegas. I wonder if he was invited to that podcast and he just like, you know what, I'm going to fly out to Vegas. I don't know if he lives out in Vegas currently. He did coach for the Raiders for a few years. So maybe I'm sure he's probably still there, still living there. I don't know. But that's a connection that some people have made is Tom Cable, because he did coach under Pete Carroll as an O-line coach. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna be a big fan of that. I just hope they go a different direction. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Marshawn and Mike Robinson, obviously they were on the same team and they have a lot of respect for Cable.
Yeah.
But if you bring, he's going to bring back that zone blocking scheme.
Yeah.
He's going to turn the tight end or wide receiver into offensive tackle or center. He always does he always has little weird projects, bro. Like he always turns a player from another position into offensive line. He's done that. He did that with, he did that with Andre James. Yeah, he did with Andre James.
Andre James. Yeah, he was a left tackle at UCLA, matter of fact, and turned him into a center. One thing. So we talk about connections. So there's a few tangential connections between Chip Kelly and the Raiders brass right now, right? The first being, it's not direct connections, but Chip Kelly was a coach at Oregon. His starting running back at Oregon was LeGarrette Blount. Blount won some Super Bowls with Tom Brady. And then when Chip Kelly was at UCLA, for a few years, his linebackers coach was UCLA alum, also worked on the coaching staff with Pete Carroll, Ken Norton Jr. So that's the connection right there, relationship type connection. So I think Tom Cable, I don't think he worked with Chip Kelly, but also just those both Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll were in the pack.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I said both of them were in the Pac-10 / Pac-12 So I'm sure at all those media, those media events and all that stuff. I'm sure like Pete Carroll, they were like hey, Oregon was one of the better teams in the Pac-10 at the time. Them and USC. So I'm sure that they crossed paths during those events as well. Probably talk shop at some time there. So I'm sure there's some kind of relationship there between the two of them.
And you said Ken Norton Jr. I think he was a DC for
he was a linebacker coach in DC.
Yeah, for PK. I hope that. Well, hey, a linebacker coach, I wouldn't be mad. But
yeah.
they just hired John Glenn for a linebacker coach, so never mind.
Yeah, how like that. No, but I'm saying Ken Norton Jr. was the linebackers coach as well for Chip Kelly. So that there's a connection right there between it's like kind of tangential, but I said between Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll as well.
I don't know. That might be reaching out, but I don't think I really do think that like Pete will like hire someone outside the box because he's shown he's done it in the past, and he said it. He said in the presser that he's gonna look to hire someone he's never worked with before, and technically he did do it with Patrick Graham. He checks two boxes. A guy that's from the previous regime that he's willing to bring back, which he brought back, and then obviously he's never worked with Patrick Graham. I don't think there's any. I'm not sure if there's any connection with him and Patrick Graham. So you got to give him credit there, and I think hopefully he continues to do that. And yeah, man. So we'll keep an eye on that and see who they pick up. I think that OC hire and that offensive line hire is going to be huge. I wonder if they bring back the wide receiver coach from last season. Edgar Bennett, man.
He's another guy that survived. He's another guy that survived a few regimes. I think it depends on who the offensive coordinator is.
Mm-hmm.
I think Edgar Bennett is well respected, but have we really seen what we wanted to see out of in terms of development out of any of our wide receivers? Like Trey Tucker is still has he really developed? Not really. But in all honesty, we haven't really given him anything to really work with.
I feel like Trey Tucker got better. I think Trey Tucker got better. He's gotten better. But
like how? But he's a third round pick though. So man, it's like how much better has he really gotten?
Well, how long has Edgar Bennett been a part of that? Part of the team. He's been there since
2002. Since 2002.
2002.
Yeah. No, 2022. 2022. I'm tripping.
I was like, he ain't been there. Did they give him the what's old boy that was a wide receiver coach like almost every year because he used to be he was a Hall of
Fred Biletnikoff.
I felt like it didn't matter who was the head coach. Fred Biletnikoff is gonna be the wide receiver coach. Al Davis like, you about to be that wide receiver coach, but
Freddie B. Freddie since 2022, he's been here. So I think he was hired. That would be
Gruden.
That would be under. Was that under Gruden? Was that Gruden's last year?
Or
was that Justin McDaniels' first year?
He didn't coach under Gruden.
I don't recall.
I think they brought him back. I think he coached under Gruden.
I think he might have. I don't remember.
22 is basically McDaniel's first season as a head coach.
I think it was 2022. It might have been before that. No. Actually, it was before that. It was before that.
Right. Yeah.
It's got to be before that because he definitely coached under Gruden. Because I remember when they were talking about the draft picks. I think they talked to Edgar Bennett about some pick. I forgot who it was. And then one of the reasons why Devontae wanted to come here was to reunite with Edgar Bennett, who had been his wide receivers coach in Green Bay. So he had to be before.
So he was the wide receiver coach for the Raiders since 2018.
Okay, cool. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say because I remember that was part of the reason why Devontae wanted to come was because Edgar Bennett was here. So yeah. Yeah, no, 22 was Tom McMahon. That's who's been here since 2022. Tom McMahon, special teams coordinator we brought back.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's another guy, McMahon. We forgot to mention that he's brought back as special teams coordinator.
Yeah, which is good, man. Solid.
Yeah, I'm not sure because he said a combination. He said a combination of people that he hasn't worked with. Bring back some guys from the previous regime, but also guys that know his style of coaching and how he wants to get things done. So he's already so John Glenn is a guy that's familiar with that. We'll see if it continues, man. Hopefully it's not Bevel at OC. Hopefully somebody else. That's what I'm hoping. And hopefully it's not Tom Cable at the offensive line. I just don't want to go. I don't know, man. I just don't want to. I hope someone different.
Tom Cable's been out of the league for a little while too, because Tom Cable was. I think Gruden brought him back as offensive line coach, but after that regime was over, I don't think Tom Cable hasn't been back in the league at all.
Man, to be honest with you, that's a huge hire though. Offensive line coach,
huge.
That's a big one, man.
Because we got DJ Glaze and Jackson Powers Johnson, both young guys. We feel it's going to be like integral part of this franchise going forward. So it's like you got to trust the right person with their development.
Also, too, like the personnel too that's on the team. If you go, let's say, a different type of scheme, and a lot of the personnel already on the team doesn't fit that, or they have to adjust, then it's like man, it's gonna be.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough, man. Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on that, man. Hopefully we can hire someone good. It is kind of late as far as hiring some assistant coaches. I mean, a lot of the teams have kind of. I think the Chicago Bears damn near filled out their entire staff.
Yeah, bro, they've been moving quick.
Quick.
I think Dallas too, right? Like, didn't Dallas move pretty quick? Like, because like somebody hired like Eberflus. Did Eberflus go to Dallas as defensive coordinator?
That was a good hire. I like that hire.
Man, quick, right? Ben Johnson got in there after the first day. I think it was Dennis Allen, right? Dennis Allen was.
Yeah. I think Ben Johnson mentioned. I don't know if he mentioned this. I think he mentioned this. He said, during the time where he was being considered for head coach, where he kept just skipping and coming back, he said he was talking to people and said, "Hey, once I get my head coaching job, are you gonna come with me? Are you gonna if I hit you up and let you?" So he's been planning this out for a while. So
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But Dennis Allen was a head coach already. So Dennis Allen knew he was gonna get fired. So that was just that was him identifying. But that's the thing, bro. Like when I don't want to harp on this issue, but when you young, bro, you agile, you quick, you make decisions fast. Like you ain't hemming and hawing and you know what? Bro. It's I got this is what I want to do. This is what I got in mind. This guy respected. Bam, bring you on. Bam, you my guy. Brian Schottenheimer, he got hired after Pete Carroll. How is he filling out his staff before it don't make no sense, bro. Like Pete Carroll got all these connections, been in the league all these years. Spike got all these connections. Brady got all these connections. Like, bro, you need to. I don't want them to rush the decision, but you should have some people in mind and already be, hey, you know what? What's up? Having some. I ain't even heard of an interview. Like outside of what Bevel has the Bevel officially interview, or we just had a phone conversation.
He officially interviewed. I was
like, outside of Bevel, like, bro, like that's come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? Like, this is your potentially your most important hire. Like, you gotta don't do this like you did the head coach and bring in 3 guys and then like, oh well, damn, this is all guys. Our main guy didn't want to come, so we gotta like cast a wide net, bro. Fine, like talk to all these different people, especially if they're working for other teams. Get some intel on these other teams anyway. Like use these interviews to get intel. Like bro, like be smart about this.
Yeah, and I will give Pete Carroll some credit because he's built good staffs in the past. So, I mean, think about it. Like a few of his former assistant coaches became head coaches. From the Gus Bradleys to Dan Quinn is a guy that was under Pete Carroll's staff.
But if you look at his coordinators, only ones that have been successful head coaches were Gus Bradley and Dan Quinn. And as I said before, he inherited those guys. Robert Saleh has gone on to be a head coach, but Pete Carroll never elevated to him to coordinator. Dave Canales went on to be a head coach. Pete Carroll never elevated to him to coordinator. The only other recent one is Brian Schottenheimer. And Brian Schottenheimer, he's kind of been like a guy that, like people around league circle, like that hire was almost universally panned because nobody thinks he he's a guy that can be a good head coach. So like, he really hasn't had a lot of guys that have gone on to that from the coordinator level to be good head coaches. So, and part of the reason why he was let go from Seattle was because his inability to put together a good staff toward the back end of his career. So that's why this important. So I can understand him taking his time on it. I joked about him going so slow. This is a big decision for him. So you want him to take time, but at the same time, you want us to be like, you want some inertia here. You want them to be talking to people, bringing these people in for interviews, like doing some activity going on, not just sitting back. And it seems like right now we're just sitting back and letting everybody else fill out their staffs, and then we'll be left with whoever's left over. And how I think we should approach it.
What do you think? What do you think of a Shane Waldron?
I mean,
was pretty. He was a pretty good coordinator under Pete Carroll. Not for the Chicago Bears, but Pete Carroll last season head coach. I think he wasn't too bad. Obviously, and then that's a connection to Geno Smith. Some people kind of threw out like, hey, maybe Geno Smith might be a trade candidate for the Raiders, a veteran option that they can get. I don't know how people feel about that, but the Raiders I think they're going to bring in a veteran. You know what I mean? Like they don't have a quarterback. Minshew is, to me, he should be cut. I'm assuming that he's going to get cut. Aiden O'Connell is the other quarterback, and that's about it. So I think they're going to get a proven guy in here. And not to say that they're not going to draft anybody. They're for sure going to still draft anybody. But that's what I said last season, and it didn't happen. But with Brady in the building, literally in the press conference, Pete Carroll talks about it, having Brady in the building and leaning on him to possibly help him identify a quarterback, and Mark Davis literally talking about having Brady in the building and helping and identifying that quarterback. I'm going to assume that the Raiders are going to draft a quarterback this year, but I don't think it's going to stop them from getting a guy in free agency because, I think if they do get a guy, maybe they're going to give him some time to develop. Maybe they're going to give him some time. He might not start right away. If he wins the job outright, that'd be beautiful. I mean, that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but there's a possibility that they don't draft a quarterback in the first round. They can draft him in the second round, third round, whatever the case may be. And, we've heard Tom Brady mention that, there's a developmental problem with QBs nowadays where people are throwing these QBs, out there and not giving them time to develop and yada, yada, yada. So we'll see, man. That being said, I guess a good segue, man. So I think you kind of started the conversation about Pete Carroll. I think, and make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. You're going to be seeing this on both our platforms. So if you haven't already, make sure to do so. But yeah, I guess that's a good segue to around the nation. This is where we like to talk. We get the conversation going with that's happening around the nation, and where everybody's talking about Pete Carroll being hired as a Raiders coach, and for the most part, the media loves the move. Everybody loves the former players playing that coached under him or that played under him. The media, they're all like, man, like you got the Dan Patricks of the world saying that, hey, man, if I would have known, Pete Carroll, if it was between Pete Carroll and Ben Johnson, I'm going Pete Carroll all the way and yada, yada, yada. Which, to be honest with you, I'm not surprised that everybody loves Pete Carroll because he has developed a reputation over time as a really good coach. Chance he'd be a Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer. He's won a Super Bowl, won a national championship. Like, he's built so many relationships. He's done it. He's done a good job for a long time. So I can understand that, like, people, are excited for a guy like Pete Carroll to come to the Raiders. That being said, not everybody loved the move, and and I wouldn't say that I love the move. Obviously, if you've been watching us, you know that we've kind of been skeptical just because of his age. What is the plan? What Pete Carroll look like? How long does he coach? What's the plan? Like, what are we going to accomplish with Pete Carroll at head coach? And Pete Carroll is coming in here, from what it sounds like in his pressure, he's coming here to win. So, and he knows he doesn't have a lot of time. I mean, he's up there in age, so he's not gonna be here. He's not thinking about a rebuild. He's coming in here trying to win. That being said, Emmanuel Acho, Severe's favorite sports analyst, he talks about his thoughts on the Pete Carroll hire. And give me just a second. I'll pull this up here. Let's see here, man.
Yeah, well, while you put that up, hey, I know you did mention Shane Waldron.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Shane Waldron is a name to look out for. I would just say that. He worked with the Patriots under Belichick as tight ends coach. Worked with the Rams under McVay. Worked with Pete in Seattle. That's a name to look out for.
That was an OC. That was an OC that, like, last coaching cycle when we're trying to match OCs with AP, we're like, hey, I wouldn't be mad at a Shane Waldron coming to the Raiders at the time. You know what I mean? And he did well with Geno Smith and
he went to the Bears.
And when he left, Geno Smith didn't look like the same quarterback that he was under Shane Waldron. So
no.
And obviously it didn't work out with Caleb Williams, but
Caleb Williams.
Yeah, but Eberflus was the whole situation was kind of shaky just because Eberflus was literally, he was on a hot seat to begin the year, and on top of that, Caleb Williams kind of was struggling a little bit, playing like a rookie and yada yada yada. But it is what it is. It didn't work out. But this is what Emmanuel Acho had to say about the Pete Carroll hire.
You got a bridge coach, and you're going to have a bridge quarterback and expect to have successful seasons? It's bad math. Pete Carroll turned 74 years old in September. How long do you anticipate that he's going to coach? Pete Carroll's a defensive-minded head coach, at least I would suggest that. But the Seattle Seahawks hadn't had a top 10 defense since 2016. So you're a defensive-minded head coach, but your defenses, your last several years were 25th, 11th, 15th, 22nd, 11th, 13th. So the thing you do best, you didn't do it best. Furthermore, Pete Carroll hadn't won a playoff game since 2019. Not to mention that Pete Carroll and his leader in Russell Wilson, there was tension there. As a result, they both departed. So while I love it because the name Pete Carroll will always and forever ring a bell in the sport of football, he's one of the most brilliant football minds ever, I just don't know that it makes a ton of sense. I think it was a safe hire. You got a bridge coach, and you're going to have a bridge.
I think that line right there, you're going to have a bridge coach with a bridge quarterback, and you thinking that you're going to be successful. Man, I mean,
yeah.
And that's the thing. That's kind of what we've been saying, like, so much about the hire was that, like, it's what's the plan? Like, who's the successor? That's something that we haven't even heard. Like, no one's even talking about it. Everybody's just talking about, Pete Carroll, he's the coach. But no, I guess maybe we're waiting for this staff to fill out. Maybe we're waiting for a young, bright OC, or maybe, it's Patrick Graham at head coach. Maybe he's an assistant. Maybe he's getting an assistant coach title, or I don't know what the case may be. But I don't think Pete Carroll's going into this thinking that he's going to be, grooming someone to become his replacement. I don't think that's happening. I think he's going in here like, I am the head coach. I'm the guy that's won a Super Bowl and led a college football team to a national championship and, yada, yada. He's had success all these years. You know, it's kind of interesting that people they're kind of overlooking the whole situation. But, you know, last show, we kind of took some heat. Some people saying, oh, we're being super negative and yada, yada, yada. But we being realistic.
Exactly.
And I think the main thing that I you know, I can speak for myself, but like main thing that I was saying that for me, it's going to be a wait and see.
Exactly.
And me following this team for a long time, I'm being fair. Maybe even being generous, but I'm being fair when I say it's a wait and see for me. I'm going to let this play out because I'm not going to be one of the people that's going to be like, oh, the Raiders are going to do this and they're going to win this and then they're going to How many years have we done that? How long have we done that where we've put in so much expectations, you know what I mean, with this team, and then we come up short? Or we you know, we don't obviously live up to those expectations. Because obviously the offseason is probably the best part of the Raiders. For how long? We get hyped up during the offseason, and then obviously the season comes along. Now I'm not trying to be Mr. Negative. I'm trying to be I'm just being realistic. And man, when the Raiders do something like this where, you know, they hire a coach in his 70s, the oldest coach in NFL history, I'm just looking at history. Has it been done before? Hasn't been done before. You know what I mean? There's a reason why we don't see coaches in their 70s coach no more. I mean, Bill Belichick. Why? The guy that got 7 rings. He doesn't have a job in the NFL. He didn't even try to come back and interview for jobs this year. He took a college job. That should tell you everything you need to know. But go ahead, Severe.
Yeah, man. What's wild is that, remember when like it was being bandied about, you know, last year and even a little bit earlier this year, right? With Tom Brady, it's like, oh man, should the Raiders hire Bill Belichick? Should the Raiders looking at Bill Belichick? Remember, like when we had placed that phone call to Bill Belichick to talk to him, like everybody universally panned it. Oh, why are you gonna Bill Belichick? Why you bring in like? But like that's that same energy with Pete Carroll. So it's just like it's wild. People would just, you know, like that. I understand, like you're a fan, you want to be supportive of your team, but first of all, like part of being a fan is being able to be critical because you want what's best for your team. Right? That's like, you know, just blindly loving everything they do. Like that's, you know, to me, that's not being a real fan, right? Like that's being like, you know, that's just, you know, just going along to get along. If I don't agree with something, and it's my responsibility to all of you guys, and I take this responsibility, you know, serious with myself and with anybody who watches me and supports me, is to always tell you guys the truth on how I feel about a situation. I owe you guys that. If I owe you guys nothing else, it's to give you the truth, not to tell you what you want to hear or what I think you want to hear or what everybody else is saying and regurgitate it. It's to give you the truth, in my opinion. And my opinion is that, you know, while I do think Pete Carroll is an accomplished coach, and, you know, there is a chance that he can have success, you know, for these 3 or however many years he's going to be here, what does that look like when he leaves? You know, like what is that? Because it seems that we'll be almost in the exact same position then that we are in now. And the problem with the job now, and it could very well be the problem then, is that we don't have a quarterback and we don't have organizational stability because we keep cycling through head coaches. So you're telling me after we cycle through another head coach once again, all of a sudden that's going to look like we have some stability? Because we're going through that same whole routine again. We're going to have to possibly change over a whole nother staff, right? So the only thing that's going to be consistent, thankfully at that point, hopefully at that point, will be Spy Tech. So it's like, you know, and there's no guarantee because we couldn't bring in the coach this time. So there's no guarantee that Spy Tech in his very first go round hiring technically, I guess he was involved in this situation, but his first go around with he's fully at the helm hiring a head coach. There's no guarantee that he'll be any more successful than we've been previously. So it's why take the chance on this guy that's older when we can take a chance on a young guy. And at that point, you learn from your mistakes. Like, you know what? Hey, this young guy didn't work. Let's go somewhere else. Well, if Pete Carroll does work, we're probably in the same position again in 3 years. So it's like, I just don't understand the logic in it. And I know people are, oh, he's here to clean up the culture and he's here to do this. But like, just because maybe he can establish a culture here, but there's no guarantee that the next guy can carry on that mantle. He's going to be a different person with different beliefs, different philosophies, a different personality, a different background. Like, nothing about him is going to be the same. And guess what? He's not going to have the same resume as Pete Carroll. So there's no guarantee that the people in the building will have the same kind of respect and admiration for him as they have for Pete Carroll. The only time that really worked, the only time I've really seen it work for a long period of time is with the Miami Heat. And know why it worked with the Miami Heat? It's because when Pat Riley was done being their head coach, what did Pat Riley do? He went up and he was the executive. So he was the guy. So it was still his philosophies being there. It's not him depending on somebody else to have his philosophies. It was still his philosophies. He's just in the elevator role. So he's bringing in coaches that fit his philosophies. Pete Carroll's not going to be the guy that hires the next head coach. Likely, it's going to be, unless we name the guy an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator, his successor. So it's going to be Spytek and Brady and Mark Davis again making the decision. So we're going to be right back where we are right now. So it's never been done. And all these same people that are giving the Raiders praise right now, saying we made the right move in hiring Pete Carroll, if this does not work out, they'll be the same people saying, why would the Raiders hire the oldest coach in NFL history and expect it to go any way other than this? Like, the Raiders, once again, doing some Raider things, doing what nobody else would do. Like, how many other teams were looking for Pete Carroll? Nobody else was looking at Pete Carroll. The Raiders were the only team that were willing to give Pete Carroll a job. Why? Because he's this, it's all going to come around. They're not going to give us any kind of grace for this. They're not going to go back and look at what they said previously and call themselves out. They're going to call the Raiders out like they do with every decision. So, those same people that were praising the Tyree Wilson pick, or the same people saying, oh, the Raiders, they have a poor history of drafting and, yada, yada. Those same people that, that praise any draft pick we ever have. As it could be the number one guy on their board. Jonathan Abram was the number one safety on a lot of people's boards. That pick has been universally panned. Like, Cleveland Farrell was one of the top edge rushers in that class. That pick is being universally panned. Like, they never go back and look at what they said about those players at that particular time. They just go back and look at what the Raiders did and criticize us for it. And it's going to be the same situation here if this doesn't work out.
Nah, facts, man. I think right now, I think that a lot, the media and like I said, there's a lot of respect for Pete Carroll, rightfully so. He has the credential. He deserves it. He's an all-time coach. He's won a Super Bowl, made a couple of appearances. He's been coaching for a long time. Obviously he has his success in college. We talked about all that. So it makes sense why everybody is like, yeah, Pete Carroll, he's so energetic, man. He's 70 is the new 40, and you know what I mean? The 40 is the new, it's just like, look, like, I think we're well within our right to say it's a wait and see for us, especially with the Raiders and what they've shown us over the years. The Raiders have been losing for a long time. Now, can we be excited about certain moves? Yes. You know what I mean? Yes. I'm not going to lie. Like, I even said the other day last year, I was like, man, that was a great presser by Pete Carroll. I was like, it was a good presser. Am I excited by Spytek? Spytek is but it's, for me, I'm just going to like wait and see. I'm not going to go into it trying to feed y'all, oh man, this is going to happen and this is going to, oh man, Pete Carroll's going to do this and yeah. Man, we've never seen a coach his age coach, we've never seen a coach his age actually been given a long-term contract, or at least with a 3-year contract, right? 3 to up to 4 years. I think it's a team option. We've never seen that. And usually, like the last coach that was his age, 73 years old, was Romeo Crennel, and he was an interim head coach. He was an assistant guy. We've seen older assistant coaches, but head coach is a whole different story. But, you know, like I said, we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. Hopefully, you know, you know, Pete Carroll and Spytek is part of the search as well. They put together a good staff. But yeah, man, it's I'm surprised, man. Like, but look, Pete Carroll, I got a whole lot of respect because usually when the Raiders make a move, the media is quick to like criticize. So, but you are right though. You make a point. But once it falters or it doesn't work, they're gonna be like, the Raiders went ahead and hired. Yeah, the Raiders went ahead and hired the oldest coach. Unnamed executive is going to come out and you know how they do these articles. Unnamed executive criticize the Raiders, or what were they doing hiring an older coach? Like, what kind of plan was that? You know, like, especially, you know, I don't want to, you know, say anything. I know this, I know, but everybody's thinking it, so I'm gonna say it. Like, what happens if something happens?
Yeah. Exactly.
What happens if he trips and breaks his you know, hip or something like that?
Yeah. So the thing about it is like you made a good point as like he's gonna be the oldest coach to ever coach in the NFL. But he's also the oldest coach to ever get hired. And so it's not like, you know, like even coaches before, even if they're in their role, before they even get to Pete Carroll's age, they leave. Like, usually those guys aren't hired freshly into new jobs. Like, this is like legitimately the first situation where this has happened in the NFL.
Just
like,
think about it.
This doesn't happen.
Just think about this, Severe. Bill Belichick, the guy that won 6-7 Super Bowls, interviewed for the Atlanta Falcons last head coaching cycle.
Yep.
Raheem Morris, a long-time assistant coach.
Yep. I
think the only time he's had experience as head coach was as an interim head coach for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
And they passed on Bill Belichick, who won 6-7 Super Bowls. That being said, you know, maybe Bill Belichick probably has some demands. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if I want to become a head coach, I'm going to probably be taking over as a GM. You know what I mean? I'm going to be you know, whatever the case may be. But that was the only thing that was the only interview that we heard that Bill Belichick had.
Yep.
I mean, I'm trying to think of, was it Panthers maybe? Did he interview for Panthers?
I don't know if he interviewed anybody else. And part of the reason people were saying why he took the North Carolina job this time around so quickly is because he didn't want to deal with the embarrassment of either not being requested to be interviewed or interviewing and not getting the job. So rather than deal with that, he's like, you know what? I'll just take this job here. And then he didn't even sign his contract until recently. He had only signed there was only the little offer sheet agreement between. He didn't sign his contract until until the Cowboys filled their job, and because if he had signed his contract, there was going to be only a $1 million buyout before he signed his contract. Once he signed his contract, there was like a $10 million buyout. So like that's why he didn't sign it until recently. So, you know, he was still low key holding out hope, and nobody really checked in besides us. We put a call in, but other than us, nobody really put a call into him. So, you know, like teams are like, and like sometimes they say when everybody else is going left, you know, you go right. You know, sometimes you want to cut against the trends, but like everybody in the league is hiring young, offensive-minded head coaches, like you know, to varying degrees of success. You know, I might say, but you know, most of these guys are hiring young, offensive-minded head coaches. You know, like that. That's that's how the Rams caught lightning in a bottle there. The Bengals, they kind of caught lightning in a bottle there as well. We see we'll see what Dave Canales is able to do with the Panthers going forward. But that was another guy, young offensive minded head coach. That's been the trend, because you want to get these guys and pair them with a quarterback. That's why the Bears are hiring Ben Johnson, because they have their quarterback. They want to have a guy that's they're going to be there permanently develop their quarterback. Now the Commanders, they did a little bit different, because they were able to bring in Cliff Kingsbury. So maybe if we able to get a young offensive mind at coordinator, maybe this all works out. But if that happens and we have success, guess what's going to happen? Somebody's going to hire that guy, because that's the trend. You hire these young offensive minds. So it's like, and nobody's saying Pete Carroll can't coach. Pete Carroll can coach. He's one of the best coaches of the past 20 years. He's going to be in the Football Hall of Fame for sure. If he's not in the College Football Hall of Fame already, he's going to be there as well. But I think he's already in the College Football Hall of Fame. So he's going to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the College Football Hall of Fame. Like, he's a very accomplished coach. But, he's 70. He's 73 years old, going to be 74. Like, there's so many variables involved with that. Like, anytime you go into a situation, you want to eliminate as many variables as possible. You want to get rid of as many ifs as possible. When you hire somebody that old, there's not only is your ceiling lower, but there is added variables, and you don't want to be having all these added variables.
I know the chat right now is loving this right now.
You're a hater.
You know what I mean? And they're probably calling them both a hater and being negative and yada yada yada. And I understand the offseason, everybody wants to be positive and yada yada yada. But you know what? Hey, look, I can be realistic and be positive, and I can be realistic and be, I guess, negative too, because it's not what people want to hear. But let's look at the other side, because we look at how it doesn't make sense and how it might not work, and how just we looked at that side, right? We understand that part, and that's obviously where we're at with it, where it's just a wait and see, because there's some question marks. How can this work? Let's talk about that. How can this work with Pete Carroll? What's the best case scenario with Pete Carroll and the Raiders? And let's talk about that, because we've talked about like his age. Obviously, like we talked about that since we heard his name. You know what I mean? Like, we are like, Pete Carroll, Pete Carroll. Like, we don't like, how can this work? What's the best case scenario for the Raiders with Pete Carroll at head coach and this team?
Best case scenario for this team is we have Pete Carroll on board as our head coach, right? We're able to identify the right offensive coordinator for this team, and we're able to get the right quarterback in the building. And this team, that's the biggest piece, right? The right quarterback. And this team starts winning games consistently. Due to Pete Carroll's credibility around the league, people start to view the Raiders a little bit differently based on his reputation. And, we either have the successor in-house, or we're able to identify somebody outside of the building after his tenure is over, and they are able to come in and finish whatever Pete Carroll starts. That's like best case scenario. But as I said, man, like, that's an added layer of ifs. That's the problem. So like we're hoping that all of this stuff happens. There's it's like extra degrees of separation, instead of like, you say like what's the shortest path to your goal, or shortest path to your destination is generally a straight line. But we're going like this way to get around this tree, then taking this side street, and we're going all these, instead of just taking let's go this one direction. So I mean, the best case scenario is that Pete Carroll is able to clean up this organization, change their reputation around the league, And after he leaves, it will either have the guy in house that's his successor, or the organization is in a better place, and our successor from the out. So we're able to attract, the next Ben Johnson. Have you.
I would say this. Two things. We're able to win. Like Pete Carroll, if we're winning with Pete Carroll at head coach in one of the best, if not the best, division in football, with all these respected head coaches in the NFL, like from the Andy Reids, obviously, Harbaugh and Sean Payton, and the quarterbacks led by Mahomes. If we're able to win and get to the playoffs and be competitive, and we identify a quarterback,
yeah, that's the big one.
And not just any quarterback. I'm talking about we identify a young quarterback. Then I think it's a success. If we win and identify a quarterback, because at that point I feel like once Pete Carroll is not the head coach. Let's say he coaches for 3 years and then passes the baton to another guy. I think we'll be a hot destination for a head coaching candidate, especially is because we're established team, winning team. I'm sure if Spytech does his job right, talented football team, and on top of that, we have a young QB.
Yeah.
Boom, easy. But if we're not, if we don't win, and we don't identify a QB, then it's just like we're in the same position that we were before Pete Carroll took the job. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, But I think best case scenario is if we win with Pete Carroll, and obviously we identify a young QB, and obviously he develops under his watch. So that's to me that's the best case scenario. And hopefully maybe they identify a quarterback in this upcoming draft. We'll see. That being said, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff, man. We appreciate everybody coming through, man. Hey, man. Look, man. Hey, look, we had to bring this up. I know this is a conversation that y'all don't want to hear sometimes. Because sometimes we don't really tell people what they want to hear. We just say what we feel. You know what I mean? Our opinion on this situation. I mean, a lot of people have they're hyped about Pete Carroll, and I understand. You can make an argument Pete Carroll is probably the best head coach based off his man. I don't know, man. Like since Gruden first time around, like Gruden 1.0, this is probably the best coach, and Gruden is and Carroll's the better head coach. And if you're thinking like, okay, who could compare? Maybe Madden or Flores.
Be Flores.
You know what I mean? Just based off Super Bowl win.
This is the best in terms of resume. In terms of resume, this is the best coach we've ever hired, just based off resume.
And I think that's what people have people confused. I think that's what people are confused out right now. Like they're like, man, this dude.
Yeah.
How can you say this guy's how this is not gonna work? But it's just, it's like almost getting like a like Randy Moss at 4 years old. You're like, oh man, Randy Moss.
I was about to say the same thing, bro.
I mean, that's to that extent,
but yeah, because he's not playing on the field, but to some degree, right? Because because as Raiders fans and as people that follow the team, like this has been always been our MO. Like, oh, you know what? We will take your retreads. We'll take Tim Brown or Jerry Rice at age 36 or 37. We'll still He'll still put up 1,000 yards. We'll take, hey, y'all don't want Charlie Garner? Take Charlie Garner over here, and he'll put up a good season, right? Now, y'all don't want this guy? Oh, we don't want Jim Plunkett? Oh, we'll take Jim Plunkett, like that's been our MO in the past. So, like, people are just so used to operating in that way. So, it's, but all this, as you said, it's contingent on the quarterback, man. Like as far as dysfunctional as this organization had been, if we had a young stud quarterback, nobody would give a damn, right? Like, these coaches would have still been lining up to take this job. Like,
yeah,
like, that's a bit like the difference between us and the Jaguars is the Jaguars have Trevor Lawrence, we have Aiden O'Connell. That's between, Amy Trask talked about it. The difference between us not being able to track a guy like Ben Johnson is that the Bears have Caleb Williams, we have Aiden O'Connell. Like, that's the difference. So if Pete Carroll or Spytek are able to identify our young, that's more important, even more important than winning. Because if people don't feel that winning is sustainable with whatever quarterback is at the helm, they will not touch the job because they feel like, what? Hey, if I got to hitch my wagon to that quarterback, I'm not going there. If you identify a young quarterback, people look at the Jaguars. They've been as dysfunctional as dysfunction can be. They still attracted a top candidate. Look at the Bears. They've been as pretty dysfunctional franchise themselves, but a guy is willing to hitch his wagon to a generational talent at quarterback. Like, we don't have that, and that's been the biggest issue for this franchise for quite some time.
Spytek, he made a point to point out how he liked how, Pete Carroll coached Seahawks teams went about trying to address the QB position. They tried through the draft, free agency, through trade. Basically, they exhausted all resources to get to eventually find their guy. So, which tells me that that's what he's going to do. Which that's exactly what the Raiders should have done last offseason. You know what I mean? But I felt like they kind of fell asleep on the wheel, or they took their time, and Telesco was trying to let the board fall to him, or whatever the case may be. They just went about it in a whole different way. But I think the Raiders are going to be aggressive in trying to upgrade that room. Could it be trade? You know what I mean? From the Staffords, Geno Smith. Outside of that, I don't see any other possible connections. I mean, with Ben Johnson on the board, obviously the favorite was like, oh, maybe Hendon Hooker might come to the. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening either. Right?
Yeah,
if the Raiders have Michael Penix instead of Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, first of all, we probably win more games, and there's a possibility Antonio Pierce doesn't get fired. Right. But if he still does get fired, like there are going to be a lot more people around the league saying like, "Yo, man, I want to go coach that kid because that kid has that it factor. Yeah, like he's a leader. He has the arm talent." He has that it factor. I want to be the guy that turns that guy into a Super Bowl winner or to an MVP, which is something we'll talk about next.
That what's so crazy? And I don't care what anybody says. And I don't know what's your take on this, but if we had a decent quarterback play, defense was healthy, we would have won way more games.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like if the quarterback play was actually like solid, like. Obviously we didn't. This last year's team was tough, man. We didn't have a run game. The QB play was below average, and the injuries on defense, like we had no chance of winning. But that's a whole different conversation. That's in the past. Make sure to click and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But yeah, man, that's around the nation, man. The conversation right now is happening is everybody's excited about the hire, but not everybody. Some people had some valid criticisms of the move. Because it's going to be interesting to see something that we have never seen before, with Pete at his age. But hopefully it works out. Like I said, I think the main thing that people are kind of missing is that our take is we're skeptical of the move. But it's a wait and see for us. We got to see it play out. We want to see it play out. That's the main thing. And if people don't understand that, then I don't know. You know, hey, look, y'all can go buy in right now, but after so long being a Raider fan and seeing every different type of scenario, and I bought into the McDaniels, even though they were former Patriots. I try to buy in with Gruden. I try to buy. It's a wait
Now
and
you
see
gotta show
for
me.
me.
Now
You gotta show me. When you
Yeah,
show me, I'm gonna be the first one to be like, man, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Man, this team is X, Y, and Z, one of the best teams in football. Yada, yada, yada. You know, I mean, I'll buy in, but right now it's a wait and see. But
Yeah.
there's a whole offseason ahead of us, and I'm going to be excited about free agency and what the moves are going to be looking like, especially draft. I'm going to be definitely paying attention to that. We'll make sure to tune in. We're going to have plenty of mock drafts. Going to be getting into a lot of that. Obviously, the Senior Bowl happened this week. From a lot of people have been paying attention to the quarterbacks over there, the Jalen Milrose, the Jackson Dart. We're hearing Jackson Dart is kind of like the best quarterback out there. I think Milroe had at the time of this shooting this episode, Miller had a solid day, but overall, I think he's been struggling. Man, there's some other quarterbacks as well, but you know, I mean, we'll get into all that, and yeah, man, we'll probably have some people come in and that were actually there at the Senior Bowl, and break down some of the prospects and people that he like. So we'll get into all that, but let's move it along to Extra Point. You know what I mean? It's that time where we gotta make a final point about a topic here, and in this one, Cam Newton recently on, I think, was it First Take? I don't know if it was First Take. It was one of the many
shows.
One of the many ESPN shows. He was on ESPN and not Skip Bayless, but Stephen A. Smith posed the question, and you know, he asked him. He asked him, would you trade your MVP trophy for a Super Bowl? And you know, Cam Newton said pretty much no, he wouldn't do it. So what Cam Newton pretty much, he went on, he had like, I would play the clip, but Cam Newton sometimes he doesn't land the plane. If you know, you know. Sometimes he doesn't land the plane. I'm like, come on, man. Like,
I know exactly what you mean.
Man, but this is what he pretty much sums up his take was, I'm taking individual success because I did my job. Cam Newton being asked if he traded MVP war for a trophy, a Super Bowl victory. Now, someone on social media also asked Rich Gannon, you know what I mean, who also won an MVP back in 2002. You know what I mean? That the last time the Raiders went to the Super Bowl, man, that was a Super Bowl season. And they asked Rich Gannon, you know, if he would trade his, MVP for a Super Bowl. And Rich Gannon in the comments says, I would take a Super Bowl over an MVP any day of the week without hesitation. Now, hearing Cam Newton say that, is that like, is that him being selfish? You know what I mean? Like, because MVP trophy is a huge honor.
Yeah.
But I would think that a Super Bowl is something, to me, it's bigger than, that's legacy right there. That's like legacy as a player, man. Like, look at all-time great players, man. When they mention the great players, a championship is next to their name.
I think that the politically correct answer is to say Super Bowl. I think that is like the answer people say, and part of that is like due to social pressures. They of course, man, I want a Super Bowl. Come on now. Like, some of that is due to social pressures. I think, if you ask a lot of these guys, like behind closed doors, what would you rather have, an MVP or Super Bowl? A lot of guys will be like, yo, man, I want the MVP. Like, I think a lot of guys will say that. I just think that as society, they know they'll like societal pressure, like that puts a huge impact on people, right? So I think that the automatic reaction is that if you say you want a MVP over Super Bowl, like everybody's gonna criticize you for being selfish. But if you're a person that you don't care what other people think, then like that there's an MVP. Like Super Bowl is a legacy thing. It's for people to look at and say, oh man, that guy, he won a Super Bowl. But like MVP that's like self-satisfaction. Like, man, I know I did this, I accomplished this. This is something I did. This is my blood, sweat, and tears went into this. I was able to do it. Super Bowl is a team award. MVP is an individual award. And so, you can be a bad player on a good team and win a Super Bowl. You can't be a bad player and you can't be a good player on a bad team and win MVP. You have to be a good player on a good team to win MVP. So, not only do you yourself have to be good, but your team has to be good as well for you to win an MVP. So it's twofold thing right there. So I can see where Cam is coming from. Me, I'm a Raiders fan, so I ain't seen no Super Bowl. So yo, bro, if Rich Gannon better say that Super Bowl, he better say that Super Bowl because I don't care about the MVP, bro. I need a Super Bowl in my lifetime.
See, the thing is though, Cam, like when the question was posed to Cam, so it was like literally asking him, would you trade your MVP trophy for a Super Bowl victory? So Cam would have the same career, or if not better career, like just as good. He still will be Cam Newton, but he also would have a Super Bowl attached to his name. Yeah, I think the Super Bowl would be bigger than the MVP. To be honest with you,
that's the thing. That's my thing. It would be bigger in the eyes of other people. But would that be bigger than what Cam wants? Would Cam feel like he did his job as well? Apparently for him, he feels more he gets more accomplishment out of saying he was the MVP than he does the Super Bowl. And to each his own, right? Like if that's where he gets the satisfaction from, that's what he gets it from. Like I can't fault him for that. But me personally, like I said, I haven't seen no Super Bowl victories, bro. I need a Super Bowl. Like I need a Super Bowl, bro. I don't even bring up, like, when we talk about like MVPs, I don't even bring up that Gannon MVP season, bro. That don't mean a damn thing to me, bro. Yeah. I need a Super Bowl, but like for Cam himself, bro, like I can't say what's gonna bring him more joy in his life in terms of his legacy and how other people view him. Yeah, the Super Bowl will be bigger, but like. In terms of what he values and what he feels he did himself as a player, that's kind of his prerogative.
Yeah, no, I understand. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's his opinion, and obviously he won an MVP and he went to Super Bowl, but ended up losing against the Broncos. But I'm just saying, man.
Peyton was bad that year, bro. Peyton was horrible that year.
I think Cam Newton's answer is kind of biased because he didn't win one.
True. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when you don't have that feeling.
Yeah, so he's trying to downplay the Super Bowl, and he's trying to, he's proud of that he won an MVP award, which is nothing wrong with that. Like it's a great individual accomplishment. But I think that, if Cam would still be Cam, and if he won a Super Bowl, that would actually like. The legend of Cam would have been bigger. Like, man, he won the ultimate. Because literally, that's the reason why they play. I mean, at the end of the day, every team is playing to win the Super Bowl. Like, let's keep it real.
Yeah.
Like, especially especially at quarterback. At quarterback, man. Think about
that's
Brady.
Supposed to be the goal. But
think about Brady, right?
That's not everybody's goal, though. I think that's what people get the misconception. That's not everybody's goal. That's what everybody's goal should be. But that's not everybody's goal, bro. Like for some people, this is just their career. This is just their career. They do this for a living. And whether or not they win the Super Bowl, that's why like bad player or good players go to bad teams for big contracts. It's not like they ain't looking at it like, oh man, I'm about to go over here and take this team to a Super Bowl. Like, nah, bro, I'm about to go over here and get paid.
But just
and
think
that's
about
what
it.
it is.
Think about it. Cam Newton played. So winning a Super Bowl would have been so big. Think about it. When they talk about Tom Brady and they call him the GOAT, they didn't talk about his MVPs. They talk about this dude won 7 Super Bowls. 7. When they talk about Michael Jordan, they don't really talk about his MVPs. He has MVPs, but they don't really talk about his MVPs.
But
they talk about his 6 championships.
But Cam not going to get to 7. Yeah, but look how they talk about Russell Wilson. Bro, like what's crazy is that like when we were trying to get like this, and I don't want to go back to this conversation, but when last year, right, when we were like me, you, Big Mike said, yo, bro, we should go after Russell Wilson. He's an accomplished player. He won a Super Bowl, went to another Super Bowl, should have won that one. People, I don't want him. He's washed. He's too old. Did you see what he just recently did? Like nobody was talking about. Oh man, they wasn't having the same conversation about Russell Wilson that they're having about 74-year-old Pete Carroll. Russell Wilson was washed. He was no good no more because he had one down year in with the Broncos. Came back and had a really good year, but was just benched because they didn't want to pay him. They didn't bring up that. They didn't bring up his Super Bowl that he won. They didn't bring up that. You know, the Seahawks didn't start winning until he got there and was named the starter. It threw all of that out the window. He was washed. And that's all that. So nobody cared about that Super Bowl at that time. They didn't look at his legacy.
I think people have recency bias.
That's how it always is, though.
And Russell Wilson didn't exactly like light the world on fire like as of recent years. He's played well. But people who watch Russell Wilson play, they saw that he lost a little bit of his athleticism. You know what I mean? He's a little bit past his prime. So he was aging. He's getting up there. Even though he was putting up decent numbers, it wasn't correlating with winning. You know what I mean? So he goes to the Broncos. They didn't win. He goes to the Steelers. They win some games. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's because of Russell Wilson, and that's always been the case with Russell Wilson. If we're being real, when he won, it wasn't because of him. It was because he was a part of a team that won. Like if you understand what I'm saying, with the Seahawks, it was about the great defense and running the football.
Those teams didn't win before him, and they didn't win after him. They won with him. The Steelers, their offensive output before Russell Wilson got there, I think they had one game where they scored more than 20 points.
They won.
They had one game where they scored more than 20 points. His first game as a starter against one of the best defenses in the league, they put up 35. George Pickens says, "Yo, the offense is better than it's ever been." I want to say we had that as a notable quotable. He took that offense to a completely different level. So before they were winning in spite of the quarterback, Russell Wilson gets there. They start winning because of his play.
Right. And I'm not
same thing with the Seahawks. They went 79 the 2 seasons before him. He gets there, they go 11-5, and then what happens after that? They start struggling, and then they find Geno, and then Geno starts winning some games.
Right. But what I'm saying is that you brought up Russell Wilson and you talked about how like, oh man, like see how people were talking about Russell Wilson, which I was one of the people that like, hey, the Raiders should look into signing Russell Wilson to a vet minimum contract, and it would be even better because the Broncos be paying the tab. You know what I mean? They literally will be paying the tab because they were paying. So it'd be even. It was basically a low risk, high reward move. It didn't work out. They can cut him at training camp. That's how low risk it was. But that being said, as far as how people felt about Russell Wilson and him as a quarterback, some of it was kind of valid because he wasn't really, lighting the world on fire. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like he was, putting up like huge numbers or whatever. But I understand that he won a Super Bowl, and you're trying to make a point that, like, hey, just because he won a Super Bowl doesn't mean, you know,
People didn't give a damn about it. No, nobody said Super Bowl winner Russell Wilson. They
True.
said, "Oh, this dude is a walk." Just like nobody factored that into his legacy.
I did though. I was like, bro, you add a veteran who has playoff experience. You know what I mean? It's gonna just make everybody better. Like, it's gonna make that room better. It's gonna make Aiden O'Connell better. Whatever young QB, if they were to even address a QB in the draft or get a Michael Penix somehow, some way, which obviously we all know how it played out, but it would have made that room better. But you know, I get you. A lot of people didn't see it that way. They looked at it.
People didn't care. They didn't care. You know, and I mean, like I said,
but that's an exception though. That's an exception. That's an exception.
But like, you know, just in terms of careers, you know, like Cam Newton and Russell Wilson, like I think they're probably similar tiers all time, right? So like, does Russell Wilson's one Super Bowl win, does that really elevate him that much above Cam Newton? Because people,
I'm taking. Are you saying who's better, Russell Wilson or Cam Newton?
No, I'm just talking about how they're regarded all time.
All time?
Yeah, they're about the same. They're probably in that same tier.
I don't know about that one, man. Cam
or you say Cam, or you say Cam clears, right?
Damn, you know what? It's the thing about Cam, his. I gotta look at like his. Hey,
look, you arguing to get your own argument right now. You arguing to get your own argument because Russell Wilson. You arguing to get your own argument right now
because Cam's prime was kind of like short. Like how good he was.
It was short. His career period was kind of short. His career period.
Yes, his career was kind of short. And then Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson had probably a longer. He's definitely had a longer career. But how long was his
his
peak
prime, or how peak? Well, how good was he at the peak of his prime? Basically,
I don't think Russell Wilson was ever as good as Cam. This is his peak. I don't think he was as good.
That's fair.
He won MVP.
That's fair. That's fair. But
Cam won MVP.
Exactly.
And
Russell Wilson did. Russell Wilson ain't got one. But Russell Wilson has two. But as I was saying, but like all time, they're going to be regarded basically the same. They're going to be regarded basically the same. And you got Cam ahead. You making Cam point for him. Cam like, man, F this ring, bro. I got an MVP. Forget what y'all talking about.
No, but I'm not saying it's the end all be all. Like I'm not gonna say a player is better because he has rings. Oh, he's better because he has rings. But there are certain players who are both, you know, you can make an argument that both players are both talented, but that one player was a winner. He won. He won more than that player. He was in playoff situations, and that player won. So there's nuances to the conversation. You can't just say you can't compare. It's not apples and oranges. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you can't just compare it.
But so because you look at it in two ways, right? Like how it affects you and how it affects you individually, or what you value individually, and how it affects your legacy. So Cam is already saying that individually he prefers the MVP. That's what he's saying, right? For whatever motives he says that for, he says that's his testimony. And we're saying that, well, you know, all time you gotta look at the guys that are winners. They won a Super Bowl. Well, in terms of legacy, those guys are regarded as better. But you just told me that you regard Cam Newton as better than Russell Wilson, they're similar guys. But you know that Super Bowl, him not having one and Russell Wilson having one, isn't necessarily putting Russell Wilson above Cam Newton.
So what it is that Russell Wilson was probably better longer. Like he had a longer career.
Yeah.
But I just feel like Cam Newton's peak, and this is someone that you gotta watch it. You gotta see Cam Newton's peak, which is obviously the MVP season that he had.
They
Like,
damn near
his
went.
pe-
They were damn near. They lost one game. Well, they lost 2 games all year. The last game to the Falcons and then the Super Bowl. Those only 2 games they lost all year.
And like Cam Newton was a big part of that team's success of going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson was never that.
He was a big man. Come on, bro. He was a big part of their success.
He was
Come
never.
on, bro.
No,
Bro,
he
he
was
was a big part of their success.
He not,
bro.
no. He never led the team. He didn't lead the team. The reason why the Seattle Seahawks won.
Bro, he was considered a top 5 quarterback, man. He was considered a top 5 quarterback. Come on, man. He was considered a top 5 quarterback. Bro.
Hey, bro, we all found out that years later this dude was not as good as we thought he was. I in my opinion, the reason why the Seattle Seahawks were good and were winning was because of he was probably number 3. You know, at best number 3 reason why they won was their defense and Marshawn Lynch, beast mode.
They had Marshawn Lynch and that same basic defense the 2 years before he got there. And what they do? They went 7-9 both years. He gets there, they go.
They went to the playoffs. They went to the playoffs,
bro. They went to the playoffs going 7-9, bro.
Hey, they went to the playoffs.
They won the division at 7-9.
Hey, they went to the playoffs.
Bro,
they went to the playoffs, and they won a playoff game. And they won a playoff game.
Yeah,
that team that you're talking about.
That playoff game was because of Marshawn. That was the Beast Quake game. But
okay.
They went 7-9, bro. That was 7-9. But they went 7-9.
But okay. That's beside the point.
So they shouldn't have been in the playoffs. The division was so bad, and all their wins were in that division.
That's beside the point, though.
They were so bad. The division, but they went 7-9, bro. Like you look at it, that's a 7-9 team.
Hold on. What was okay? Name. Okay, so you're saying that the reason why the Seahawks won and were great was because of Russell Wilson. Like Russell Wilson was the biggest reason or second?
Part of it, yes.
But I said he was number 3. He wasn't bigger than Marshawn. He wasn't bigger than Marshawn.
They didn't win a Super Bowl. They didn't have a winning season until he got there. They didn't go above 500 until he got there. They had Marshawn both those years.
He wasn't bigger than Marshawn. Are you serious?
He's bigger than Marshawn. Marshawn, yes.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't, bro. Oh,
he was bigger
man.
than Marshawn. Yes, he was.
Hell nah.
He was bigger than Marshawn. It was defense than Russell Wilson. They didn't win until he got there.
Marshawn. It was defense than Marshawn.
They didn't win.
That's the reason why they didn't win.
Russell, bro. They paid Matt Flynn all that money. They didn't pay Matt Flynn all that money because he was going to be handing it off to Marshawn. Why did they give Matt Flynn that big contract? Why did they give Matt Flynn that huge contract, bro? Because they needed a quarterback. This is where we. This is. Man, I don't think you believe what you're saying right now. Bro, believe it or not, they didn't win until they got there. They had Marshawn both those years and went 7-9, bro. Like, what are you talking? Like, that's not even an argument. It's not even an argument.
Hey, I'm not arguing that Russell Wilson didn't contribute to the team and didn't help them win. What I'm saying is that he was just part of the think about it this way. All right, great example, and it's a telltale sign of how Pete Carroll thought about his recent quarterback situations in the past. He went out his way in the pressure to talk about how, look, there are only certain teams that are going to have top 5 quarterback. It's you know what I mean? There's only going to be certain teams that can have a quarterback like that. But for the rest of us, you know, I'm paraphrasing here. For the rest of the NFL, he's a firm believer of putting a team, pretty much putting a team around that quarterback, having a run game, playing good defense, kicking it when you need to kick, and it shows. You know what I mean? Like Russell Wilson at his best, that's, you know, he was a good game manager because they had a great defense and they ran the football. And they would have never won without Marshawn Lynch. He was the MVP on that team.
And they would have never won without Russell Wilson.
He was the MVP.
They had a better chance of winning with Russell Wilson than they had of winning with Marshawn. So they would have had more success with Russell Wilson and without Marshawn than they would have had with Marshawn without Russell
No,
Wilson.
they would not have been the same team without Marshawn. They would not.
They would not have been the same team without Russell Wilson.
Okay, they needed obviously they need a quarterback.
But they would have had more success with Russ and with a average running back than they would have had with Marshawn and an average quarterback. Russ was considered a top 5 quarterback, bro. This is not even a discussion, bro.
Nah,
it's not really
man.
a discussion, bro.
Nah, man.
This is wild,
nah,
bro. It's not even a
nah,
discussion,
nah,
man.
nah.
It's not even a discussion.
Nah, bro. Nah. I can't let you get away with it, bro. Hey, if y'all watching this, man, please let me know in the chat. I'm gonna put a poll out here. Do you think that Russell Wilson was the MVP on that team?
The defense was the MVP.
No, was Russell Wilson on offense? Or we'll just keep it simple.
Russell. I'm gonna say Russell Wilson. Yeah, I'm gonna say Russell Wilson. Yep.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna say Russell Wilson, bro.
Nah, man.
I'm taking quarterback all day, bro. Their impact on the game is too much. Part of the reason why Marshawn was able to do what he was doing is because of Russell Wilson. Like, bro, it's not even. It's like,
hey,
look,
man.
I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna let you know, bro. I'm gonna let you have it, bro. I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna let you have it.
You're not letting me have anything because look at the current team in the Super Bowl right now. This Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts is literally averaging just over 100 yards a game. Who's the best player in?
Jalen Hurts is not as good as Russell Wilson, bro. It's not even. And it's Saquon is better at it. Saquon is having a better season right now than Marshawn ever had in his career, ever dreamed of having. Better, and Jalen Hurts is not as good as Russell Wilson.
Okay, you done?
Am I lying?
This arguable. I mean, it's.
Come on, bro. Come on. We done, bro. Look.
You're moving the goalpost right now. You're talking about Russell Wilson and Jalen Hurts, but what I'm trying to say to you is that look at the current team right now, the Philadelphia Eagles. My main point is that it's led by a running back. The best player on the team is the running back. Arguably the best player in the league is a running back. And Saquon is having a great run.
A better year than Marshawn ever had. And Jalen Hurts is nowhere near the player that Russell Wilson is.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter because
then it's not an even comparison. It's not the same thing.
It's not about comparing. At the time, Marshawn Lynch was having a great season.
That's what you're doing. You're comparing the two.
But not in that way, though. You're trying to compare it like,
What are you doing? You're comparing the two. Then you're saying I'm not comparing them in that way. Then how are you comparing them?
Look, Marshawn was a big part of the Seattle Seahawks' success. Huge part. In my opinion, he was the number 2 reason, arguably number 1 reason why the Seattle Seahawks had a success.
Come on,
bro. I'm telling you, bro. Hey, look.
Put Marshawn over the defense.
Look. I'm not gonna argue that.
I know you love him. I know he's from the Bay, bro. But you gonna argue over the defense?
I'm not. No. Don't change the goalpost. Don't change the goalpost.
No, that's what you just did. That's what you just said.
No.
You just said arguably number 1. That's what you just said.
Hey, he was a big part of that success, that team success.
Come on, bro.
In my opinion, bigger than Russell Wilson, and I just don't. Your opinion.
Your opinion, and you can make an argument for that. In my opinion, Russell Wilson was the average running back.
And I literally told you that Russell. I literally told you that the defense was number 1 reason. I told you. I said Marshawn was number 2, and Russell Wilson. You can make an argument was number 3. He was number 3 because obviously he plays that quarterback position. We all know how the quarterback position impacts the game. But come on, he wasn't bigger than Marshawn. I don't think the Seattle Seahawks would not have been the Seattle Seahawks without Marshawn during that time, during that run.
And they would not have been the Seattle Seahawks without Russell Wilson during that time.
I bet you if they handed that ball off to Marshawn, they would have had 2 Super Bowls. They would have won back to back. I bet you.
That's what they should have did. In that situation, they for damn sure should have did that. Yeah, but that's just dumb play calling.
Man.
But I
Oh man, hey, let us know in the chat, man, how y'all feel about this, man. Look, I don't even know how to phrase this question here. Who was a bigger reason for the Seattle Seahawks success? Marshawn or Russell Wilson? Let us know in the chat, man. I'll put a poll out there. Great topic, great conversation. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And you know what? I'm gonna just take a look at Marshawn. Let's see. Let's look at those Super Bowl years. When did the Seahawks? I actually want to take a look at this. Take a look at this, man. Let's see. Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks, man. I ain't a Seattle Seahawks fan, but But hey, look, they had a good team, and they beat the 49ers. That's what I love about the Seattle Seahawks back then. They were beating the 49ers. I was like loving it. A really good 49er team too. Let's see, Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl. Let's see.
It was
2014, and then 20 what's it? Hold up. 2014. Oh, hold up. So 2015, they lost against the Patriots.
2015 lost against the Patriots, yeah.
All right, so then let me see. Man.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, you crazy. Go ahead, look it up. Go ahead, look it up, bro. You out of your mind, bro. Go ahead, look it up though. Look it up. Look it up. Oh man. Yeah, look it up. Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. You want the numbers? You want the regular season numbers or Super Bowl numbers? Cause I got both of them.
For who?
For both guys. When you looking at their stats that year, you want the regular season number or the Super Bowl numbers? What do you want? Because you're losing both arguments. So either way, you losing the argument.
Well, I'm not losing both arguments. It's quite clear that Marshawn was the best player on that team, or arguably the best player on the team.
So you look at the Super Bowl year. First of all, Russell Wilson started all 16 games. They went 12-4. He threw for basically 3,500 yards, 74-75, 20 touchdown passing, only 7 interceptions. And you look at Marshawn Lynch, right? So that's 20 touchdowns right there. Look at Marshawn Lynch. He played 16 games, only started 14 of them, put up 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns. Russell Wilson, once again, started 16 games, played 16 games, put up 849 yards rushing by himself and 6 touchdowns. That's in addition to the 3,500 yards he had passing and the other 20 touchdowns he had. He accounted for twice as many touchdowns and more than half of the yardage rushing that Marshawn Lynch had. Come on, bro. It's not even an argument, man. Get out of here, man.
Nah, bro.
Almost 900 yards rushing and 3,500 yards passing. It's not an argument you winning, bro.
Nah, bro. It's
not an argument you winning, bro.
Let's see. Hold on. Let's see.
Not an argument you winning, bro. Not an argument you winning, dog. Come on, man. No, look at you. You're going game by game now.
I just pulled this up right now. Let's see. see 2015. That's when they.
Now you're going to 2015 now.
Yeah, but
2014 didn't work out for you. 2014 didn't work out for you, so you're going to 2015 now. Russell what? Oh, 24. Oh, we really. Oh, you want to look at 2014?
Hey, look.
Yeah. Look at 2014.
Look.
2015.
You could look. Let's see. The thing is though. The thing is you're trying to use. Hold on. Let me see.
I'm trying to use what?
Hold on 1 second.
What am I trying to use? The statistics? Because you thought it was gonna be a wash. So when you thought it was gonna be a wash for Marshawn, that's why you came here.
Well, because
why you came here.
No, but the thing the thing
now
is the thing
we're
is
moving the goalpost.
No, because I didn't say Russell Wilson's a bad player though. That's the thing. You're trying to make it seem like, why is it showing the record? It's not showing. Hold on, let's see. Hold up.
So I showed you who accounted for more touchdowns, who still put up 3,500 yards passing, and damn near 900 yards rushing.
17 total touchdowns in 2014, over 1,600 yards total offense with receiving and rushing. Hey, look, he is the running back. Did Russell Wilson play bad? No. But I'm taking Marshawn was the best player on that team, bro. Come on, like you're trying to make it seem like. Hold on, let me see.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Keep talking, bro. Keep talking.
I'm trying to pull up his numbers, but I don't know why I can't see his 2015 numbers.
Because he can't see the 2015 numbers because guess who was the leading rusher in 2015 was Thomas Rawls. Because Marshawn only played 6 games that year, so Thomas Rawls was the leading rusher on the team with 830 yards. But go ahead. And
No. So hold up. No, the Super Bowl for also it's 2013. It's 2013 season and then 2014. Oh, okay. So that's the 2014 season where he had over 1,600 yards rushing. Let's see. Okay, so he had like about the same numbers, a little less than 6. So he had 1,500 yards total offense, 12 rushing touchdowns, 2 receiving, 14. Let's see, 140 yards in the playoffs. Okay. Let's see. And you said Russell Wilson's numbers? What did you say Russell Wilson's numbers were?
Well, for that year, I was looking at the 2014 season. The 2013 season.
Let's see Russell Wilson's numbers.
He put up, so he had more touchdowns passing that year, a little less yards running, little less yards passing, but more touchdowns passing, less touchdowns. He actually had more touchdowns that year, because he threw for 26. If you're looking at the 2013 season when they entered in the Super Bowl victory, but he only ran for 539 and 1 touchdown that year. So he ran for 539 yards and 1 touchdown, but he threw for 26 touchdowns, so he counted for 27 touchdowns that year. And about almost 4,000 total yards. About 4,000 total yards, I guess you could say. So 4,000 total yards, 26 touchdowns.
Let's see 2013.
That's 2013.
Damn, this shit tripping. Ah, man, come on, man. He didn't even throw for 4,000 yards.
Come on, bro. Marshawn barely ran for it. He didn't even reach 1,300 yards.
You made it seem like he was dominating, bro. Like this is solid.
You make it seem like Marshawn was dominating. He put up 1,200 yards,
bro. Okay. So okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, and for Russell Wilson,
you made it seem. Hold on. Relax, chill, relax. They gonna see the numbers. The people gonna see the numbers. He didn't.
And look
He
at
didn't.
look at 2013 and look at 2014 too.
He threw. All right. He had a solid year. He threw just above 3,000
And Marshawn
yards.
had a solid year too.
Yeah. Okay. But he was the best player on that team. He was arguably the best player on that team.
Russell Wilson accounted for more than twice as many touchdowns, and almost 4 times as many. Let's say 3.5 times as many yards.
So you're what you're saying is Russell Wilson is the second.
He almost ran.
So he was the second.
He almost ran for half as many yards as Marshawn did from the quarterback position.
So you're saying Russell Wilson is the second best reason why the Seattle Seahawks won.
Yeah. The defense was number one, and the defense is number one by far. It's not even close. Defense is number one by far. But Russell Wilson is number 2. Like, look, the numbers bear it out, man.
Nah, man. Nah. So that's 2013, and you said the 2014 season where he played better.
He played even better.
He played better. Let's see. Let's see here. Oh, why is he on the fantasy? Damn. Man. He played even better. What are you talking about?
He threw for 3,500 yards, ran for damn near 900 yards.
He threw for less touchdowns. He threw for 100 more yards passing yards.
How many touchdowns did he rush for though?
Oh,
so
no,
he ran for 6 touchdowns.
Oh, okay. You brought up the rushing. Oh, okay. You didn't talk about the passing yards. Okay.
I talked about both. I talked about both.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Look. I want to be clear. I want to be clear here. I never said that Russell Wilson was a bad player. You know what I mean? I'm not saying.
I never said Marshawn was a bad player.
My argument, because his argument is Russell was the second best reason why they won. Seattle Seahawks won.
Yeah.
My argument is that the second best reason why the Seahawks won was because of Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
That's what, that's my opinion. But hey, he's a solid player. I mean, I remember watching these games. Russell Wilson was a pretty good athlete.
Marshawn was a solid player too.
He's a solid player, man. Oh man.
That's what he's a solid player too. He's solid. He's very, very solid. That's the jacket you're trying to throw on Russell Wilson, the guy who's obviously producing more. So if he's solid, then I say Marshawn's solid too. And look at the next year when Marshawn didn't play.
Okay.
Thomas Rawls was their leading rusher. In 20, Thomas Rawls was the leading rusher the next year. They still won. They still went 10-6.
Hold up. Let's look at the playoffs real quick when it counts. Let's see what happens here. So let's see here. Damn, they won a game against the Packers and he threw 4 picks. You feel me? You know what I'm saying?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that game. I don't remember that game.
He threw 4 picks and a touchdown. Oh, man, I don't want to keep going back and forth, but hey, look, so let's go back to, let's see, and then the Patriots. Damn, bro, like, fuck. And I remember that Patriots and Seahawks game. I remember he threw a big time pass on the sideline.
Marshawn had a big
run
catch on that last drive. It was a catch. It was a big catch on that last drive to set him up in field goal range, as a matter of fact.
And then he also ran it down almost. I think he got it to the 6-yard line. I thought that was the pass. I thought that was the pass, like I thought it was like a little out route he threw to Marshawn. But when after the pass, I think they ran it though. I think they ran it with Marshawn. I think they.
I don't remember. I remember Marshawn had a big catch and run, like where he like pass damn near in the backfield and like carried it along. I don't remember that exact sequence, but I remember he had a big catch.
Yeah, but
I
hey,
people
no,
was like Marshawn can't catch, but he had that big catch.
yeah, and look, this is for me watching the game, seeing how the Seahawks played their game on offense. I just felt like the game, a lot of their success was through Marshawn, obviously play action. Russell Wilson was a good player for them. I'm not arguing that, but I just think that Marshawn wasn't there on that team. I don't think they would have the same success. I don't think they would have the same success with an average running back. Because, man, I don't know, man. But
I
this is a good.
I don't think they'd have the same success with the average quarterback. So
with the worst quarterback, I mean, yeah, but like, what we're arguing is it's like close. It's like what we're saying is what I'm saying is he's the second best.
Yeah,
and Russell is the third.
Well, you said you said he was arguably first. You said Marshawn was arguably first, and I said it's nowhere near. He's at the best.
He's defense. But I led with that. That's what I led with. I said
that's what you led with. Yeah.
But I did say that. But hell no. It was a defense. I mean, that's probably one of the best defenses that we've seen. That's probably the last great defense that we've seen in the NFL. It was the Legion of Boom.
The best year of Marshawn's career was that 2012 season, and they went 7-9. He basically averaged 100 yards a game, and they went 7-9. And that's the year they missed the playoffs, going 7-9.
Well, was that Pete Carroll's first year at head coach?
Second year. His first year was 2011. That's the year they went 7-9 and went to the playoffs, and that's when that was the Beastquake year. The next year they went 7-9 again and missed the playoffs because the division wasn't as trash.
Yeah. Hey, quarterback position is important, man. It is. But I'm not gonna act like Marshawn was like.
No, Marshawn ain't no scrub.
No, it's not even about it. Scrub. I just thought he was the second best reason why they won, bro. I don't know. Maybe. Hey, look, that's just
Marshawn was a phenomenon because he had those crazy highlight plays. So like that's why the focus was on, and then the whole media thing. So he was a phenomenon. So there was a lot of attention on Marshawn, and Russell Wilson was a quiet, cookie cutter square.
He was a big time leader on that team. You know what I mean? Like defense fed off the run. And he complimented the defense as well. You know what I mean? Because think about it.
Marshawn was the personality of the team. They took on. He was like the person. He was like the spokesperson. Like he was the most popular person on the team. I was put like that. He was the most popular person because that was a team full of like cookie cutter people. Like it wasn't like no personality. Like the biggest personalities were Marshawn and Michael Bennett. Those were like the biggest personalities. Like everybody else was like even their receivers were like, kind of, like I don't want to say squares, but yeah, they were like, Doug Baldwin went to like was the Golden Tate. Like no, there's like not no name. Like, well, I guess maybe Percy Harvin. Percy Harvin was maybe he was a personality, but he was hurt all the time. So.
You hear Golden Tate. You hear Golden Tate talk about who the best quarterback he's ever played with, and he said it was Matthew Stafford, hands down.
Oh yeah, Matthew Stafford's better than Matthew Stafford's underrated, but Matthew Stafford is probably he's one of the best quarterbacks. It's just in terms of physical ability. You hear a lot of people.
He said it's not even close. I was like, God damn. He's just talking about like his arm strength, like it's crazy, like how he's on time with everything, and like he said the reason why I was a Yak King was because of Stafford. But I was like, damn, I was like, what the fuck? You played with the Seahawks and you got like Yak with the Seahawks. I don't know why he was like, I don't know if he has a good relationship with Russell because
probably not. Like, a lot of those guys didn't. But Matthew Stafford is just talent for talent. Matthew Stafford he's better than Russell Wilson. He just didn't. He was just stuck in Detroit all those years. So like people, people knew him. People thought he was just like a stat pattern, like he couldn't win it. But he's putting up some crazy numbers, bro. He's put up some stupid numbers. He just never won until he got to the Rams.
Yeah, but he was like, it's not even close. He was talking about his arm strength. He makes a slant look like, he'll when he throws a deep throw like 60 yards down the field, he makes that. It's the same type of. He says the same type of like. You think he's throwing a slant? He's throwing like 60 yards down the field.
Yeah. He has a crazy arm, man.
Which he has a crazy arm, but it was just like kind of like I don't know why he. I guess maybe he was just being hella honest, but.
Yeah.
But it is.
But Russell Wilson is one of the Russell Wilson being regarded as one of the best deep ball throwers in the league.
Yeah, which is
his entire career.
Yeah, but the thing is though, Golden Tate played longer. Did he play long? I think he played longer with Seattle than he did with Detroit, right? I know he went to Seattle. He was with Seattle first.
I don't know. I think he played longer in Detroit because Doug Baldwin was they kind of pushed. Doug Baldwin kind of pushed Golden Tate out of there. Yeah, let's see. So he only played 2 years. He only played 1 year with Russell Wilson. 2013. He only played 1 year with Russell Wilson.
Oh, he played 1 year. Damn, I thought he played longer than that.
He only played 1 year, and that's the year they won the Super Bowl. He played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years with Matt Stafford. Well, 5.5 years with Matt Stafford.
What? Wow, I thought he played longer with Seattle.
He spent the first 4 years of his career in Seattle, but only one of those years was with Russ.
Okay. And he spent 5 years. Okay, that makes sense then. He had a better so that comment where he says I became a Yak King because of Stafford, because every time because he would throw the ball on time, and then he would just like picture how he would, where he would go and make the next move he would make. But yeah, man, hey, make sure to clock in at this point, clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. Severe, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
Man, you guys know what it is. The Severe Raider here on YouTube, IG, X, TikTok, Snapchat. Be on the lookout, around the Shield Friday nights, man. We do, I do, a show with my guy 805 and Chris. That's every Tuesday afternoon. And of course, the world famous, soon to be world famous 50-50 show with Pharaoh every Tuesday evening. You know what it is. Make sure y'all stop by the 50-50 shop as well. Get yourself something nice, get your girl something nice. Valentine's Day is quickly approaching, man. So, hey, what better way to show her how much you love her than with some 50-50 merch, right? That's how. So, like, Chad Johnson know all about 50-50, but that's the topic for another day.
It's a whole different conversation. Man, man. Yeah, man. Hey, look, like you said, man, 50-50 show every Tuesday nights. Make sure to tune in. That's when we do our live show. We drop an episode every Friday. Sometimes, live show with Around the Shield, but, usually it's an episode that we drop every Friday. So make sure to tune in. We are going to have more guests coming on. So, let us know in the comment section who you guys would want on. Let us know your thoughts on the show, man. What do you think of conversation? Who was a bigger reason for the Seahawks' success? Russell Wilson or Marshawn? Is Pete Carroll the right man for the job? Let us know in the chat, man, and also in the comment section, I should say, and also in the chat too as well. But yeah, man, hey, we appreciate everybody coming through. 50-50 shop link will be in the bio and as well as in the chat as well. So yeah, man. Any last thoughts before we head out?
Nah, man. It's interesting to see who this offensive coordinator is going to be. I think he's going to be hugely important to Pete Carroll's success. And it could be potentially our next guy at head coach, either him or either that person or Patrick Graham. So we shall see. Hopefully we come to that decision very, very soon.
On that note, I'm out.
Just win, baby.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.